Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Ladies and gentlemen, summer is officially upon us, and thanks to our friends at Manscaped, it can be your smoothest summer yet with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra Bundle. Join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use code THPN. The Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra has everything you need to prepare that summer bod. Inside this package, you'll find the star of the show, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth. Dual LED spotlights provide contrast on multiple skin tones, 3 length setting combs, and get this, the trimmer is waterproof. Use Manscaped's liquid formulations to keep that freshness even at the hottest summer barbecues. The Crop Soother Aftershave Lotion and Crop Preserver Anti-Chafe Deodorant. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 5.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag. I have both of those, and they are both awesome. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code THPN at manscaped.com. It's smooth summer, boys. Get on board or get left behind.
Welcome everybody to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by the hockeythinktank.com, a website for all players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We are bringing on veteran of 450 plus NHL games, Andrew Alberts. What a phenomenal conversation this was. He's from the Minnesota area, played his college hockey at Boston College before embarking on that incredible NHL career. Man, this is one you're going to want to listen to, especially all the kids out there. What an absolute legend of a story that you're going to hear. Before we do get over to Andrew, though, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, one Jeffrey J. Lavecchio. Vex, what's up today?
Not much, man. Since we last had a podcast episode, my gym remodel is now 99% finished. Thank you. I haven't really slept in 4 days to get this all done and put it all together. Well, I helped put it together. We all know I did not put it together, but I was there handing guys stuff and holding stuff and all the day and night for 3 days, but it's almost there, man. And to see the guys' faces when they came in on Monday morning for each group throughout the day. Like, thank you. I mean, I have no shame. Like, on the way, like, I was parked outside the gym and there's like a side door. I go into the rink that goes right into my gym. And I was like tearing up before I went in there. I was like, dude, like, this is going to change the guy's life. Like, I'm going to be able to get even more out of my guys because I didn't have the best equipment, for the last, my whole training career, 16 years, I've been training hockey players. I've never had the equipment that I want. And finally I can afford it. And now I have it. And just the things I've done in the first 3 days of this week, like, I come home, I just can't. I want to like live at the gym right now. It's been really exciting. It's been really cool. It's been really cool to see how excited the guys are to have the stuff and to do the stuff we're doing too. So it's been a cool last couple of days.
There we go. I've had a cool couple weeks too. I think I've talked on the last podcast. I was out in St. Catharines, Ontario, for a conference at Brock University with icehockeysystems.com. And then I was out in Nashville, working a camp out there. And then one of the most downloaded episodes that we've had, Brett Beebe, who works in player development out in the LA area with a lot of kids out there, invited me out there to speak to a large group of coaches and players and parents. And we held, dude, like, this is where, like, there's so many good people in the hockey world, and Brett Beebe is one of the best.
Amazing.
And he put this thing together. He just really wants to help Los Angeles, Southern California hockey. and he had a camp going along with it. And there were so many people that ended up coming to it. And we had college coaches speaking, we had junior coaches speaking, we had advisors come. So it's just like really helping to educate Southern California people on the hockey journey and the process. And man, it's just like, just good people, man. There's good people in this game, isn't there?
So true. He's such a good dude. I also love that you're going to all these places and being able to because you are one of the smartest hockey people in the world. Like, you are so knowledgeable and you're so good at talking to people. I'm really happy that people are flying you out and bringing you out and having you, teach all the things that you've learned throughout all the different things that you've done in hockey. You've been a junior hockey player, the youngest ever in the USHL. And then you were a college hockey player. And then you were a pro hockey player. And then you were an assistant coach or a volunteer coach or grad assistant in Division I, then an assistant coach, scouting. And then you ran an organization and you've coached midgets and all this stuff. You have been in so many places and at the highest levels and with young kids, and you just have so much to offer. So I'm really happy to see all of these people inviting you out to speak because you deserve it, man. And you do so much for the game. So that makes me happy. Anybody who's listening to this, fly Toph out. He will help your org. Come on.
I appreciate that, man. It's mutual too. But no, it is cool. And the coolest part now is like doing what I do with the Hockey Think Tank ever since I went full time, I don't know, 9 months ago, whatever it was. Like, I have a whole new perspective on the game. I've been able to talk to so many people doing such amazing things in like youth hockey in particular, and my perspective of everything. And that's like, you have to be a lifelong learner. You can't go in and think you know everything because you don't. And so getting the chance to work with all these organizations and speak to all these hockey directors and hockey parents and coaches and working with the kids, like, man, it's just really cool to be able to learn so much about what we're failing at really in the game. Some things that are going really, really well with our game and how we can best educate people on how to have a great journey in this game too, and yeah, man, it's just been really cool being able to do that.
So dope.
Yeah. I don't have some sick ass gym where I'm making NHL hockey players or anything though.
You're affecting a ton of people, dude. Yeah. And speaking of affecting a ton of people, I think this podcast is going to affect a ton of people positively. I mean, wait till you guys hear where this guy who played in the NHL for over 450 games, where he was when he was 15. Tell you right now. Wasn't the best team, wasn't the best player. I don't want to give too much away about Albert's story here, but it is very powerful, and everybody who listens is going to get a lot out of this. So take some notes. For sure. And, heading into the conversation, one of the things that he's doing right now is he's a development coach for NHL Sense Arena, which is one of our sponsors of the podcast. And he talks about it. And it's really, really cool the way that he talks about the things that he's doing and how it can help players to be better. So as we kind of transition into it here, go to hockey.sensearena.com and check this out, this virtual reality game where you can have over 100 drills as a player, over 100 drills as a goalie. And we actually tell some pretty funny stories. Vex, you told a funny story about Freddie with it too. But like, we all know that ice time is expensive. We all know that getting a skills coach is expensive. And what we talked about, reps moved out, and NHL Sense Arena is a virtual reality training game that can help to give you more reps on your hockey sense. What are all coaches looking for at the higher levels? Hockey sense. And so it's just a phenomenal product. And so we'll start it off by go to hockey.sensearena.com. We're going to put the link to get a discount in our show notes to get 10% off your annual plan. And after listening to Andrew talk about it, like, this is a must get. This is a must get. And so, like I said, go to hockey.sensearena.com and use that discount code in the show notes to get 10% off your annual plan. Also, we want to thank icehockeysystems.com, our title sponsor. Another thing that can make you so incredibly better. And they have thousands of drills on there that you can use with your players, whiteboard explanations from amazing hockey coaches and amazing hockey development people from all over the world. There's a drill drawing tool where you can use and you can draw it up, plan your practices out, and send them off to your players beforehand. And also, we've partnered with them to do an associations platform where you can get this for every single coach within your organization. Go to icehockeysystems.com today. Jeff? want to say thank you to Train Heroic. Train Heroic is the amazing app that allows me to work with so many teams, organizations, and players that are doing my off-season training program. The app is amazing. Videos of me demonstrating and coaching everything, the ability to send me videos of your form so that I can help coach you through messaging. It's unreal. I'm super excited. I'm going to start working with one of my college teammates, Chris Claxon. He just became the head coach of a team out in Pittsburgh, high school team. And so I'm going to start working with his whole high school organization out there. But if anybody has any questions on what it's like to train with me online for teams, how I can help at a hilariously low price, because my whole goal is to deliver actual real quality training that these players so desperately need, not going to CrossFit, not going to a random personal trainer, no shade, but also shade. And I can really help them at a very, very low price. So thank you to Train Heroic for giving me that ability. And also thank you to Cure Nutrition. Cure Nutrition is a CBD company I'm with. I've had 14 concussions. CBD is something that is a staple in my daily routine. I take it twice a day, every single day, and have since my last year playing 2017, 2018 season. So if you have any questions on the who, what, why, when, where, how, all that stuff, what, dodge, dip, dive, duck, and dodge, all right? Just reach out to me and ask, or go to curenutrition.com and use my discount code GMBM.
There we go. Also want to thank Helios Hockey. Helios Hockey is an unbelievable tool. It's a sensor that you put in your shoulder pad that gives you real-time data, real-time feedback on your play. And they have some really, really cool stuff going right now. First of all, unbelievable in your helping of your stride mechanics type stuff. Unbelievable. They have a hustle score that they can give you when you're on the ice. They also have a leaderboard where you can compare yourself to different people within your age group as your scores are going up. And the best part about it, it pairs with your video and you get your shifts cut for you automatically after every game. Oh my gosh, value add. Absolutely incredible. So go to helioshockey.com, use the code ThinkTank, one word, and you'll get 20% off your pro annual plan or your pro 24-month plan. You can also get this monthly, but you get that 20% discount off the annual plan. So go to helioshockey.com today. With that, now, without further ado, here we go. Unbelievable conversation with Andrew Alberts. Bet on the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. There are all available lines and odds from the DraftKings Sportsbook app for this week's game. Download the app now and use code THPN. New customers can get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved. We are so excited to have out in the Boston area. We got Andrew Alberts. Andrew, how are you doing today, man?
Doing well, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
We are pumped to have you on and have a lot of mutual friends in the game and excited to kind of hear your journey. And as all people who grow up in Minnesota, hockey is typically a part of that journey. So growing up in Minnesota, do you have family involved with the game? I can imagine there was some pond hockey at some point throughout your tenure there, but talk to us a little bit how you fell in love with this great game of hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a family involved in not a direct way, I guess, but so So I grew up in Minnesota, like you said. Grew up on kind of a lake pond behind my house, so I kind of had a built-in rink there, which is great. But my dad never played, and my mom couldn't play. Back in the day, they didn't have girls' women's hockey, and so I kind of got pushed into it, and just through like my uncles and it was my mom's family. I had 3 uncles that played D1 hockey. One played up in Duluth, Notre Dame, and then at the University of Minnesota. So I grew up watching those guys play. Which is pretty cool. And they live with us in the summer because they were college kids and say they want to stay in the city. And so we play street hockey in the basement. And I kind of just like those guys were who I kind of idolized growing up. And that's who I wanted to be. And so I kind of wanted to be actually a Golden Gopher when I grew up. But that's kind of how I got into hockey. And yeah, we had a lake behind our house. So after school every day, it was grab the neighbors, grab the buddies, and we'd be on the lake, playing shinny, and there's nothing better than playing outside in the lake. So
I know it's summertime right now, and that's like you're talking about that, and I'm like, all right, I like this warm weather, but like that sounds awesome. I want that.
There's nothing better than skating outside, wind flowing through your hair when it's snowing out. It's awesome.
The breath coming out. She must be unlisted.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Aspen. Yeah.
Oh God, already coming out with the movie quotes. Absolutely love it. Vex on fire to start. So interesting thing. So you end up going to Benilde St. Margaret's, which is an academy out there in Minneapolis area. What was that like? That's a pretty big powerhouse in Minnesota. What was the thoughts behind going to Benilde?
Well, I really had no intention of really playing. Well, I guess I had the intention of playing, but never thought I would. So just if we take it back, like I grew up playing like B hockey all the way up, not making top teams. Wasn't a great skater, didn't have a lot of skill. And so I went to Eden Prairie High School my freshman, sophomore year, tried out for varsity. After a day, they're like, beat it, go to JV tryouts. Went to JV tryouts for 2 days. They're like, I'm sorry. Like they pulled me in. It's like, hey, I'm sorry, your high school career is over. You're never going to play high school hockey. I'm sorry. Good luck with junior gold. And like I was devastated.
Can we stop you? Hold on for a second right there. I just want all the kids listening. So you're 14, 15 years old and you get told by your high school team, beat it. I think those were your words. And you played 450 games in the NHL. So for like all the kids listening to this right now, or all the coaches or whoever, like who think your career is done if you don't make like the national team at 15 years old, like, okay, that's one way, but most people's way is the long way and the hard way. So sorry to cut you off there, but when you said that, I was kind of like, man, that's like, it's just, wow.
No, it's, I mean, looking back now, it's like the best thing that ever happened to me. Right. And like, I remember sitting in that chair and like you grew up in Minnesota, it's the high school coaches oversee the Bantams, the Pee-wees, like everything. Cause it's youth hockey all the way up to the high school. And that's the top, right? Like that's the elite. And so they know who's coming up. They know whoever player is. And so you go to high school games as a kid watching. So when you're in the office and like, I remember like Lee Smith, Dick Emma Heiser being like, hey, your high school career is over, buddy. Sorry. Like, thanks for giving it a whirl. Like I was devastated. Right. And so I was like, it's a couple days later, go to junior gold tryouts. And like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to make this no problem. Like we post a list at the rink, go to the rink, look, like didn't make it. Got to go to try midget A or whatever it was. I was like, I'll make this. Didn't make that team. Got cut from there. I guess they decided to take all the older guys. And so I was a sophomore trying to play high school hockey, and I got cut down to like Midget B, which was house hockey at the time. And so like I literally played like in the cellar of the hockey community, if you will. But it ended up being a great year because like no pressure from the parents, no pressure from other coaches. Got to play with some neighborhood buddies that were a couple years older because hockey goes in 2-year increments, right? So I got to play with a couple of seniors that I was buddies with and had just a blast. I had a good time playing hockey. And then that next year, I decided to transfer schools just for schooling reasons and academics, just because I thought it'd be better to get into college. and follow whatever I was going to be. Didn't have an idea at the point, but at the time, but just like thought it'd be better for school. And so I ended up playing, like I said, house hockey my sophomore year, and then went to Benilde, tried out, and the guy named Jack Blatherwick, which I'm sure you guys have probably heard of before. Jack Blatherwick was the defensive coach there. And he's famous in the hockey world, USA Hockey, NHL. And went through tryouts, and he called me in. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna play varsity." And I'm like looking around, like see if he's talking to somebody else, right? And he's like, "You can't skate with a lick, kid, but you got a brain on you, and we're gonna turn you into a hockey player." And like that was how everything started. And it was like him believing in me, and things just took off from there. And I stayed underneath his wing my whole career, trained under him. So,
dude, that is so cool to hear.
That's unreal.
I went to after my freshman year, I was undrafted. I got invited to Washington Capitals development camp.
Yeah.
And like, I was like 192 at the time, but pound for pound, I was like so freaking strong for a hockey player back then. And I smoked the traditional lifting testing, like bench press. Only one guy beat me from Ohio State. And right after me, I've told the story in the podcast all the time. Nicholas Backstrom went after me, and I want to say I did like 275 for 7 or something. And Backstrom couldn't bench 135. And I was like, this guy, like the media's all over this guy, whatever. I go into the room with Jack to do like body fat testing and some other testing. And I'm talking because all I'm interested in is exercise science to help me be a better hockey player. Mm-hmm. And he said to me, and I say it, it changed my life. He said to me, "If you can do all your training in a phone booth, you're not training to be a hockey player." And I was like, I'd never heard of him. I didn't know who he was, and he said that. And then the rest of the camp, every day, I was just like asking him questions, just around him, picking his brain. And literally, I don't think I play pro hockey if I didn't have that conversation. I would have continued to train the way that I was, like a football player in the 90s or 80s or even 70s. Yeah. And I wasn't good enough to train that way and play hockey at higher levels. I had to learn to be an athlete, and learning that from him and all the questions I asked that week opened my mind up to like, oh, I don't have to just do what everyone else is doing. I can do whatever to try and make me better at hockey. That's so cool, because I've never heard anybody else really bring him up, even though he's like a savage. He was the 1980 strength coach, right?
Yeah. He was so far ahead of his time.
So far ahead of his time. Like, I think, did he write a book? I feel like I read his book actually after that camp, maybe.
I got it.
Oh, he's going to get
it. That. There we go. What's the book called?
I keep it close. It's hard to find.
Oh, yeah.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
Training, it's not coming up, but
right. Like that guy literally, he has no idea who I am. One sentence changed my career, changed my life. Like, it's the basis for my business, how I train athletes. So, wow, very cool.
Isn't that amazing though? How like one person can change the trajectory of your, like one person who believes in you. And that's like the thing. Like, I tell kids all the time, like, who want to play college hockey, like all it takes is one coach to like you. That's it. Like, if there's 65 Division I teams, there might be 64 that don't, but like there's one person that sees you as a fit to their program or whatever. And then all of a sudden they have that belief in you, and then you believe in yourself a little bit more. And then like you train a little bit harder and like all that kind of stuff. So like, can you dive in a little bit more to that? Just like, what did his belief in you like due to your mindset, due to your intention of like, and just the way that you prepared and the way you thought about yourself as a hockey player?
Yeah. And, you hit it right in the head there. It's having one coach, like, just like almost like throw a seed of belief in you. Right. And then it just keeps growing with everything you're doing, because you're seeing yourself take the next step. Right. And so with Jack, like for high school, or most, I don't know, like I guess in high school, Eden Prairie or Minnesota, you have like captain's practices, right? Or you play in like the fall league, and then you go into high school tryouts, which are early November, I want to say, or late October, right? And so like Jack and Ken Pauly, the head coach, they'd watch. And then I had my meeting. Jack said, "Oh, you're gonna play high school," and I'm like, well, all right, cool. This is ridiculous. But he said he's like, just get better every day, right? And like, and he kind of just like let me go, right? And Ken Pauley, the head coach, he would coach us. But the big change kind of came that summer, where it was like I had like an okay year as a junior at Benilde, and that summer I remember Jack pulled me in. He's like, "Hey, do you want to play in the NHL?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no shit. Everybody wants to play in the NHL. What kind of question is that? And he's like, well, are you willing to sacrifice and do whatever I tell you to do?" And I'm like, "Tell me what to do, and I'll do it the best I can, man. Sorry for swearing, but like that's like what I said." I'm like, "Tell me what to do. I want to play in the NHL. I'll do whatever it takes." And that's kind of where I was like, all right, I'm throwing all my eggs in this guy's basket. Like, he's been there. He's working with I think Calgary and the Rangers at that time with their off ice stuff. And so like, I knew he was a brain, a genius, had the connections, seen NHL players, what it takes to train, what it takes to get there. And so I threw all my eggs in his basket, worked out with him every single day that summer. Whether it's 5 days a week, 6 days a week, those 6 days I was working out underneath his influence, doing exactly what he said. I became a much better skater, put on 20 pounds. I was like 6'3", like $165, like just painful, right? Just late bloomer, grew late, started sprinting, working out, training outside of the box, as you're saying, like that's like his key phrase. Plyometric sprints, jumps, all the stuff that I'm like, what the hell is this? Am I a gymnast? But like that, you become more athletic, and that's what it is about explosiveness, right? And so I did everything he said I followed Jack throughout my whole career, and every summer was something new, making you better, making you faster, quicker, more explosive. And his belief, kind of like I said, he threw that seed at me, and it just kept growing as I continued to get better. So that's kind of the story, how I grabbed onto what he's saying and kind of took it and ran with it myself.
That's such an awesome story. And like all kids need to hear these kinds of stories, man. Like, we all go through our ups and downs, and at certain points there were people that didn't believe us, and then other points there were people that believed in us that helped us get along the way, and we had to learn to persevere through some tough stuff. And like, no journey is easy, man. Like, especially if you're going to play in the NHL and high level hockey, like there's a lot of tough times that come through that. And the more we can talk about those things, the better. And another one of those kind of like transitions that you had, just, you can always do the elite prospects look on somebody's career. But one thing that Vex and I talk about all the time is how incredibly difficult the transition from midget hockey is to junior hockey, and how in our careers, that was the hardest transition than any of them. Not from junior to college to pro, like midget to junior was always the hardest. And you go from Benilde, where, you're a defenseman, but you're over a point a game. And then you get to Waterloo, and your first year you get 4 points. And, as a defenseman or anybody, we should never judge ourselves by our points, but 4 points in 1 year isn't usually what we're looking for. So like, what was that year like, playing in Waterloo? You're playing for PK O'Hanley, who is, I don't want to say a tough coach to play for, but he's demanding, and he has a high standard, and he'll hold you accountable. What was that, going from Benilde, playing high school in Minnesota, being at home, to moving away from home, and that transition?
Yeah, it was, and you're right. It's a very hard transition. So PK wasn't there yet. PK came in.
Oh, okay.
2 years after that. Yeah.
Okay. Good research, Toph. Way to go.
Yep. Scott Pionk, which was still very hard and ridiculous. But so, speaking of transition, so that year I didn't play a game until after Thanksgiving. I was tracking shots for like 30 games or whatever.
Wow.
25 games. And I thought about quitting. Like, it was, I got to the point where I hated hockey. Like, Scott Pionk was there. And it was like 2 hours a day in training camp, and like 3 hours off the ice, like just grinding you, right? And then it just kept going. I'm like, I'm not even playing. Like, what am I doing here? Right. And so I thought about quitting. And obviously I didn't. A different coach came in, started to get more ice time after Christmas. And then I think I had 4 points like in the last month, right? Just to get my points there. But had a really good end of the year with the new coach coming in, a different philosophy, and giving me some ice time. And then that second year, had a great start to the year. Ended up getting selected to the top prospects tournament. And that's when BC saw me play, and I talked to them afterwards. So, but yeah, that first year transition is really tough. It's really tough. I mean, especially you're 18, you're 17 playing against guys that are 20, 21, whatever it might be. Like that's a big jump that, that age group. So
100%, man. 100%. Well, you mentioned BC. Awesome hockey school to play for. Awesome academic school too. What was your experience like playing for Jerry York there at BC?
Jerry's great. Jerry's a master of culture. And I think if you look at every single player that played underneath him, he is a guy that he treats you like a professional from the day you step in there, which is a really, I guess, it's interesting. Like just like you're going through it at the time, so you don't know. But like looking back now, I'm like, gosh, like he treated every freshman just like the seniors, gave them the same leeway, same respect, talked to him the same way. And what he does is he lets the older guys start to teach everybody else, right? And he drives the bus, but it's the support from the assistant coaches, and it's the influence from the older guys and that culture that brings up the young guys, which is pretty cool to look back on. And he did it for, I don't know if he's there for 25 years or whatever it was, but like just the culture that he creates there and being able to adapt to the young guys coming in with him getting older and the young guys still staying young, like, and being able to manage those personalities and manage those players and coach those players. He's just an absolute legend, and what he provided and brought as much on the ice experience and knowledge he brought us, like the off ice, was such an important part of it too. Cause it's like, here's how to be a pro. Here's how to be a good person. Here's how to act appropriately. Here's how to get your life in order, how to get your classes in order, hold you accountable for what you're doing, to grow as an adult and a young person. So, as much as BC is a great hockey power, it's also like a great school to develop a young man.
Yeah. So Chris Collins is a really good friend of mine. We've done a lot of different stuff in the past, and I've talked to him about, the culture that was at BC, and he was a younger guy when you were an older player there. And that's one of the things that he always mentioned was like, dude, the older players were awesome. Like it was so easy to get acclimated and to understand what BC hockey meant. And a lot of it did come from the older players that he still keeps in touch with today and great friends. And so I want to dig into that because like, I think we'd all agree that the best cultures that we've been a part of are ones where it's policed in the room. The coach wasn't the one necessarily having to hold people accountable. Like it was really the room owned everything. And so how did Jerry and the coaching staff there, like what were some things that maybe they did, to foster that kind of environment where, hey, the room is yours, guys. Like I'm here to support you and we're going to hold you accountable, but it's got to be yours. Is there something that you can remember, any kind of conversations, any kind of activities that you did, or was it, simply like recruiting good people, what was the secret to the sauce there?
I don't know if it's such a like the secret, I guess, would be like, I remember like I went, I'd already committed, but I still went for my visit afterwards and just, sit down with the coaches and then talking about the players they had there. Cause that's the year that they were going to win the national championship. Like I came in a couple months before, they went on that run, right, to win it in 01. But they were just talking about the team and the makeup of the team and how they expect the freshmen, the sophomore, every single class to chip in. But they talked about like character, like the character of individuals they brought in. And so Jerry was saying, I came here and I had to change the culture, right? So you change the culture by bringing in character individuals that are all pulling the same rope in the same direction for the same cause, right? And being good teammates about it. And like you guys have all played enough hockey where there's good teammates, bad teammates, and there's one cancer in the room. It's going to affect everybody. So it's getting like the right leaders in the room. And I think that started with like the Farkas and trying to go like Marty Reisner and those guys that came in, the Giantas that came in, roughly after Yorkie started, and those character guys started it, and it just kind of falls down through the years to the guys that are just picking up the slack every year when guys are graduating. And so if you find the right guys to start it out, and I think it's just going to continue rolling, and that's what's gone on. And it's more reloading, not rebuilding, and you're not trying to reinvent everything every year. And now with Greg Brownie's the same way. I had Brownie my senior year, and he was a great influence on my career as well. And he's done the same thing. He's kind of, he's got different things that he likes to do, right? But it's creating a good cohesive environment where everybody's pulling the same rope. And again, it's as much as off ice, you're learning. It's also, or as much as you're learning off ice or on ice, it's the off ice stuff that's just as important too. So, like we do a BC mentoring program that I've been part of for 10 years, and we go meet with the kids, 3 times a year and just talk about, hey, after hockey, during hockey, transition from hockey, what you're doing after hockey, just because like that's an important part of it too. And so we get to know those guys a little bit, and they're all great kids. So they're all willing to learn and want to learn and meet new people and connect. And that's a big part of life after hockey. So it's not just BC, what's going on the ice. It's creating good individuals.
That's amazing. And you said, the people that they bring in, the leaders are such good people and trickles down. We have so many coaches that listen to this, and obviously so many players who want to get to these levels. If you're going to talk to a group of youth or midget or junior coaches, what should they be looking for in players? And players obviously listen to this.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great question.
If
I think of like the things that propelled me to in my career, like a lot of those values were developed at BC, and like I kind of call it like the 3 Ds, like discipline, determination, and dedication. Right. So it's like, if you're going to set out on this goal, like you better be disciplined enough to know that like you can't party on Friday and go work out Saturday morning, or you can't go out Thursday. Like you have to be disciplined to your craft in every sense of it. And I'm talking nutrition, lifting, sleep, like you name it. Right. And then after that, it's like, all right, well, I'm going to be disciplined to do this. And now you got to have the determination to go through with everything. Right. And then on the ice, are you going to be that hound on the puck? Are you going to come out of the corner with the puck? Like those small things. And then the dedication to keep going, right? No matter what. And so I call it, the 3 Ds, like those things, discipline, determination, and dedication. Like those are what carried me through my career. Like being useful, like being valuable on a team, whether you're playing or not. I was a 6'7" defenseman in my last couple of years, but they kept me around because I was positive. I had a good, I was a great practice player. I made those guys better. Right. And then when I got in the game, I did my job, so, you can control your attitude, you can control how hard you work. And if I'm the hardest one working on the ice, whether it be practice or off ice, whatever it might be, I guarantee you they'd rather have me around some guy, with a sour face on, walking around pissed off he's not playing. Right. So, being useful, being valuable, doing whatever you got to do to help the team push forward, so long-winded answer, but that's kind of those things that I kind of took from BC.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I think that's another thing, like all kids listening, is like, even if you're not a top 6 player or top 2 D pair, you still have value to your team. Even if you're a 6'7" defenseman, even if you're in and out of the lineup, like you still have value to the team. And oh, by the way, coaches like to play the 7th defenseman that has a better attitude than the 8th defenseman who might be a little bit more talented, but is a mope around the rink because he's the 7th or 8th defenseman too. Just like everybody's got value. Everybody's got value in so many different ways. You mentioned on the ice at BC, off the ice at BC, like it all ties together. It all ties together. And so I think that's really cool that you talked about that. And the other thing that kind of, I wanted to ask you about similarly relating to this is you go from Minnesota high school to the USHL, you go to USHL to BC to go on and play pro hockey. And especially as a defenseman, and this happens with a lot of defensemen, like sometimes you have to reinvent your game. Maybe you're an offensive defenseman and then you're asked to play a defensive role. And then maybe you move up and then you play the power play again. And then so like for you as somebody at all these different stops, I have to imagine that you were put into different roles in different places that you were at. Talk to us a little bit about just how important it is to kind of reinvent your game sometimes, and how important it is to be a versatile player and really understanding all the different nuances of the game, because you're going to be thrust into different situations depending on where you're at. Yeah,
absolutely. If you want to have a long career, you have to be able to adapt. Like, and like the way you're saying, it's like at whether juniors, I went from a not playing to a third pairing to a second pairing to a first pairing to a shutdown pairing my second year. And then to college to a third pairing to my second year on the power play and being offensive, which a lot of people won't believe, but I was at one point in my career, to then going to the NHL where you're happy to make the team. And you're like, well, shit, I'm here. I better do something now. Right. So now I'm going to play strong defense. I'm going to run over every single player, play tough hockey. And then to the next year where I was playing with Z for 2 years, right. Being a shutdown with Z for 2 years. And then, back to second pairing with Ferentz for a year. And then I got traded, and then you're back to a third pairing. Right. And then the second pairing, and then to Van, where I was a third pairing most of the time. Right. But being able to adapt to who you're playing against, what line you're playing against, what your job is out there. Are you PK? Are you power play? Are you a shutdown guy? What are you trying to achieve out there? And then as you're changing, like the game's also changing too. Like you look how different the game is from 10 years ago or even 7 years ago till now, like the speed, the skill, like it'd be like me standing in the middle of the highway right now. If I jumped on the ice, guys are like, oh, you can still play. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like not a chance. Right. The game has changed so much. So like, it's amazing to look at guys that played so long. So you take Chara, who was playing in 02 or 03 to start, whatever, or maybe 99 to start, and how his game adapted as he grew throughout the years, so that's pretty impressive. So with me, it's the same thing. It's like find a way to be useful, and I've always believed like whatever your strengths are, like that has to be your strength. Like I was a shutdown physical guy. Like I have to be the best on the ice at doing that. Right. And like, yeah, you work on your other game in the off season, but like, if you're a skill guy, be a skill guy. Right. And that's changed a little bit nowadays because the parts, like now it's like you line up at lefty, but you're playing everywhere because guys can move and skate so well. And it makes it so much more fun and confusing hockey. Right. So now guys are just lining up in positions, but for me in my career, it was just adjusting to what was needed on the team. Whether it was, being first pairing or last pairing. So.
I love that, man. And now we're going to get to the controversial part of the podcast here because you mentioned Z. For those of you that are unaware, that is Zdeno Chara. So Vex claims, if right, you broke his pull-up record at Boston's camp.
Not claims, I did.
Okay, so he did. Yeah, Andrew had 100%. A hard time believing that.
34 pull-ups. 34 pull-ups, baby. Full extension. Guys right there. Ever came down. Chara gave me a hug when I came down.
Okay.
So I like that. He was right. I don't think I wasn't there when you were there. I was the year after you. So I signed after the 07-08 season, but then 08-09, I missed a whole year with a concussion. So I was at camp, but I didn't do anything. I missed the whole 08-09 season. So I broke his record the year after that, which would be 9-10.
Okay. I wasn't there. Yeah.
He was like,
I thought you were saying the first year Z was there.
No. This was the first year that I partook in camp. Oh yeah. 34.
Because it was funny.
But there is controversy because I did not find out till probably 2 years ago that I had to do full range pull-ups, lock out the elbow, chin over the bar, 34. Oh, no. Everyone said that Chara never had to do that. He would go down like 3/4 of the way is what I was told. No. Okay. No, that's what guys told me.
He had to do it because so John Whitesides was the strength coach. He's an absolute beauty.
Love him.
And you know his voice, right? Hey, boys. Yeah,
right.
So he better make sure you get down, right? And so when you would lock out, he'd be down, up, down.
Yep.
So Z had to go. He had to lock out. He's like,
he made it. Okay.
Make sure you lock out, Z.
Yeah. Okay, because I was told 10, 15 years after I broke it, oh, by the way, they never made Chara go all the way down because he's Chara. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, because I was like, all summer long, I think his record was 32 or 33. I think 33. And I was like, this is my ticket. This is, if I beat this, they're not going to dog me this year, Happy Gilmore style. If I beat the pull-up record. I don't know if somebody told him, like, I was going to try it because he was right behind me and I came down almost blacking out and he gave me a hug and I'm sure he didn't even know who I was and he was like congrats and I was like, oh, I thought he was gonna kill me.
No, that's an unbelievable feat, man. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was not easy. I grinded for years. When I met Toph, the first time I ever tried to bench press, Toph is 5. What are we, Toph? 4?
In the program, I'm 5'6". That's what
I know,
matters.
but I'm at real life. Toph's probably like 5'4.5". I'm 6'2". So I go and live with Toph when I'm about to turn 16. And Toph was so good at hockey. And so I looked up to him, even though we're about the same age. And he'd already been working out. And so he gets under the barbell and he does a bench press and he rips out 90 pounds with 25s on each side. And I'm like, oh, if Toph can do it, I can do it. I've never lifted a weight. He unracks it for me and I drop it on my neck. And I was like, oh my God, I am so weak. So I worked a long time for that.
No, it was. I mean, congrats on the 34. But no, it was like a pivotal moment for the Boston Bruins. Like that 5 minutes he was doing pull-ups, because like that was his first year, and he got up on the bar. And actually, before he got up on the bar, he gave it like one of these and like took the shirt off, and it's like every muscle like popping everywhere. And he got to guys were doing like 10, 15, like somebody had 17, and he got to like 17 and he's just like ding, 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 like just like clean, everything clean, smooth, like same reps. He gets like 20 and the boys were like, there's no way he's getting more. And like got to 30 and then he's like struggling, gets 3 more. And like, I remember looking around and like every single person had stopped and like their jaw was dropped, just like watching what had happened. And like, that's when everybody knew. We were like, oh shit, like the fucking big man's here. And like, he means business, and like, let's go. Like it was, that was it. It was pretty cool to be a part of that. Cause like, didn't say a word. He just turned around and like, everybody knew like, this is the standard's been set. And like, this is no joke now. So pretty cool to be a part of.
I got chills right now, man. I'm like, I want to get under the pull-up bar now and maybe get
one. And how freaking long his arms are. Yeah. Like it is so much harder to do a pull-up the taller you are. Like and he weighs so much. It's like his strength. I don't even understand how he got that strong. It's wild.
He came in at like 265 that year or something. Just ripped. Like you at 265 with those long levers. Like,
yeah, that's a big boy.
Well, one of the coolest things about getting the chance to play at that level is you get to see some people like that and learn from people like that. And obviously you have the Chara story, but is there anybody else when you had the opportunity to play at that level that you were kind of like, wow, you know, this person gets it. Like, this is why this guy is the best, or this guy has played in the league for 20 years and I want to model maybe not necessarily model my game after them, but I want to model my mentality after them. Is there anybody else that kind of really rings a bell in your time playing in the NHL?
Yeah. So, I mean, I had a chance to like play with Bergie for 4 years, and like Bergie's a super awesome guy. And like, you could just see the way he would go about his business, whether it was a game or a practice or the off ice, and like just calm, cool, collective, like so much inner drive. But yeah, I didn't need to be a voice per se, but like just the way he went about his game or his practice habits, like you knew he was, a guy that was going to have lots of success, and he did early, but like just him falling in line also with Z helping out. But like Bergie's the guy that, I think a lot of young players, you know, emulate and want to be like, and he did it in such a classy manner. Like awesome guy on the ice, awesome guy off the ice. So Bergie's one of those guys. And then in Van, like, you know, like you look at like the Twins, like the Sedins, like awesome people, like some of the best, nicest people I ever met, but like same type of focus, same type of drive, show up every summer or every fall. Like they're in top shape. They're doing all the extra stuff. You're trying to just keep up pace with these guys. And then on the ice, like the way they thought about the game and the way they perceived the game and would outthink you before you even thought about what they're going to do. Like it just, I'd never seen anything like that connection before.
How when they came in the league, it was like nobody's ever seen like two Like it was like they just always knew where each other were. I feel like, and maybe you tell me, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I never saw the shot pass high tip in the slot that they love doing. And like that became a thing. It's still a thing, right? Like they just always knew where each other were. Were they after practice, like just the two of them speaking in Swedish? Like when you go here, I'm going here, and having fikas, and that's an afternoon coffee for you, Toph, if you don't know. Swedes love that fika. Like what was it like being around them, and how did they just know where each other were all the time?
It wasn't like, so that's the thing, like in practice, I remember, so I got traded there at the deadline, 2009. And I remember like power play practice, whatever, PK practice. Right. And so we're doing power play practice and I'm playing on PK, and like, it's just like rep after rep after rep, like Hank's on the wall. So Hank's, so you guys know, like Danny's the scorer, Hank's the playmaker. Right?
Yeah.
And like Hank, no offense to Danny, but like Hank can kind of like, he'll play with anybody and still make things work, where Danny's like the trigger man and kind of needs a passer. So Hank always runs the half wall and I'm playing that left side. And like, they just went rep after rep, either through the triangle or they're interchanging and scoring goals. And for practice, I'm like, Hanky, like, come on, buddy. Like, how do I stop you guys? Like, what could I do to just like slow you guys down? He's like, LB, like, you can't stop us. And like, he just, but he's like, they don't talk. They just communicate and know where each other's going to be. And it's just like, it's not even like, it's just like the subtle little picks, or like one of them lifting up the stick where the other one goes through your triangle. Like that sort of thing that like, you can't teach that. Guys just like figure that out. And like, those are the small things. They did all the small things that people don't even really notice. And in practice, like getting a chance to go against that in practice. And like, you guys know, like in practice, guys are trying stuff. It's almost more skilled stuff happens in practice sometimes. Yeah. Because of the pressure of a game. And like, you're just like, how do I can't even stop you guys. Like, it's ridiculous, So watching those guys and playing against those guys and practicing against those guys made me a much better player. But to see how they communicate and the goals they score and how they work off each other. And then they have like working with Burrows, like, hounding pucks off and getting the puck over to them and then going to the net. Like they were a force to be reckoned with for like 4 or 5 years. Right. So, but great human beings, unbelievable ice hockey players, some of the best teammates I ever had. And they have like that same type of drive, leadership, where it's like, they don't say much and they don't need to say anything. It's just like, hop on my back, like, let's go,
That makes me think, like with them, and you were talking about how you had, you saw at least 2 different kind of styles of play in the NHL throughout your career, maybe even like 2.5, 3. When you started, probably looking at like when you started pro, like guys weren't actively picking up a D-man stick, but then you play with the 2 guys who are doing it every single shift nonstop. I'm going to poke check this guy. And then all of a sudden somebody lifts your stick so it goes under. And that's just so cool. And, something that Toph and I always talk about is like, you get better in practice. Like you have to dial in your practice, your habits, your details. Also, don't be afraid to try things. I don't know how it was, you're just a year or 2 older than me. We're 85s. I was never allowed to make a pass on my backhand until I probably got to pro hockey. Like just don't make passes on your backhand. Then you get in a game and you're like, I'm not an ambi turner. I'm not Zoolander. I'm Zoolander. I can only turn left, And,
what though, Vex? Like, it's so funny when we get players that have played in the NHL on there and we'll ask them questions about like, hey, who were the guys that had the biggest influence in you and stuff. And it's always, this guy had awesome practice habits. Like Andrew, the way that you like answered that question about Bergeron and then the Sedins, it's like all you talk about is practice, and and it's like, that's how you get better. That's where you get better. And like, man, just, they're not talking about like the skill or the highlights and all this kind of stuff. Like what makes those people great? It's like when the lights are off, what they do when the lights are off, that's what makes them great. And that's why it's so cool to be able to talk with you guys and hear these kinds of stories and even hear your story too, especially like, look at where you were when you were 15 years old, at the start of this podcast, and look at how amazing of a career you had. And everybody wants this like quick fix. Like, how do you make it to the highest level as fast as it goes? Well, no, there isn't one. There isn't one. And so to hear these kinds of stories is amazing.
Dude, I literally gave a speech to my midget group Tuesday, last night. I gave a speech to my midget group last night because I had a buddy come in town or who was at the rink, and I saw him, and he played like 8 years pro, mostly in the coast, a little bit in the A. He was the captain of Mankato back in the day. And I was like, this guy right here was way less skilled than me. All right, guys. And he played 8 years pro. I was like, these are the kind of guys that you need to listen to. Like, yeah, everybody wants to be Connor McDavid and everybody wants to be Sidney Crosby. But that's like 0.000000001% that go to the show at 18 and do well. Like, I was like, if any of you were that in this room, I'm sorry, guys, I would already know. I would know that you are that. So like listening to guys like me and listen to guys like Albie and listen to guys who had to grind. Like you got cut from your high school hockey team at 15. You're in the NHL less than 10 years later. That to me, it's like, well, what did that guy do? What did he do to make up that much ground in such a short time? Because now if you're a guy who does have skill and then you add the pieces that you did, whatever you did with Jack and mindset and nutrition, whoa, now you're putting the skill with the will. And now how far can we go?
Yeah. I mean, you said it right there, the skill with the will, right? Like the will of a young player. And it goes back to what Toph was saying too. It's like, and what you were just saying, it's like, it's, the top end guys, they'll go, like they'll play. How far they get, we'll see. But like if you're a third or fourth line guy on a midget team right now or a U15, U16, guess what? You don't think coaches are looking for those guys? Like look at you watch the playoffs, Stanley Cup play. Like the third and fourth lines are a lot of times will win the games. The top two lines, they're going to grind it out and like they'll get their goals, they'll get their points. But like a lot of times it's the bottom six that carry teams. And like, you need a dog to get on pucks, right? You need a guy to get in there and bang, get on the forecheck, disrupt shit. Like that's all part of the game. That's part of being a team. So those guys that are on the third and fourth line, like keep grinding, keep working, like be the best out there and be the best at your job, bring value to your job and people will find you, you know, stop chasing coaches, stop chasing teams, be the best that you can be and people will find you if you're good enough. And it's simple as that. Like, there's a issue with a lot of youth hockey nowadays, and it drives me crazy. And it's just like, you're good enough, they'll find you, and you don't have to be a goal scorer. So,
just like Marty St. Louis said on our podcast, be the best at getting better, baby. Be the best at getting better. Well, you obviously had an awesome career and like transitioning outside of hockey. One of the things we wanted to ask you about to end this was, you know, we have this partnership right now with NHL Sense Arena. And it's a phenomenal tool. It's awesome. And Vex and I both used it. Vex has it in his gym. And you're working with those guys right now. And talk a little bit about just your experience working with NHL Sense Arena and how you feel like can help. Because again, we do have a ton of kids, a lot of parents that listen to this podcast. Like how can that help them to really develop some of that IQ, help them to develop some of the skills to eventually maybe get to where you were?
Yeah. I mean, the simple part is like what we've talked about. It's like, it's reps. It's like, how many times you guys are forward. So it's like, how many times, how many pucks you guys shoot? Like rep after rep after rep. How many times have you dumped the puck in, got a breakout pass and broke the puck out 2-on-1 down the ice, interchange, whatever it might be. It's just like reps. Right. And so, like 3 years ago, Brian DeCord, who helped develop the goalie product, gave me a buzz because they were moving into the player product with Sense Arena. And so I went down, put the headset on, didn't know a thing about it, never been in VR, put it on. And I did, they had me do the shoulder check drill, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with, but what it is puck is carried off the goaltender to the corner. You're there to grab the puck. But before you do, you have to shoulder check to see what information is behind you. What key identifiers can you grab? What cues can you identify that guys on you, immediate conflict, stick position, body position, where players headed. And then once you turn back, they show you either a color or the puck appears, right? And so depending on the drill, you have to either find the stick that goes with that color or you find your open man. But so I did that drill and they're like, all right, let's do another one. I'm like, wait. Like, let's, I want to get this down. I want to check it out and get it down again and like understand what's happening here. And so my thought process was like you guys, we can change the difficulty, the speed of the players and where they're going and their AI. So it's not the same patterns every time. And we can just do rep after rep. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, how many more drills do we got here, guys? So we had like 30 drills, and I'm like, this is phenomenal because players need reps. Like that's what coaches provide, right? They provide reps in practice, and then off ice you can do whatever you got to do. But like players need game reps. That's how you get better. And so I thought I was like, this is unbelievable as a training tool that you can be in your house and get all the game reps you want, unlimited game reps of drills or work on specific skills to make you a better player. And it's all in your own. It's not paying for ice. It's not paying a coach. You've got me in your ear instead of some coach yelling at you, right? But I think a platform like this and this technology is such a great way for players to get extra reps and get and understand, patterns in the game, enhance your decision-making abilities, understand what's going to be available to you in different situations. And so I love being a part of it. I love being on the development side, kind of helping young players, improve their game. And so it's been great to be a part of. It's been a fun ride, and we've got a lot more stuff in the bag here coming. So I don't know. I fell in love with it right away. I saw the vision, and I like where we're headed. But it's always great to get feedback from other people, and we're always trying to improve it.
Yeah. And I think it's so cool the way that you talk about it. It's more reps. It's more reps to be able to get because there's only so many hours in a day you get on the ice. Ice time is expensive. Skills coaches are expensive. And so having the opportunity to just hop into your basement or your garage or whatever it may be at your house and get these, and it's not physical reps. It's a little physical, but it's the mental reps that you get over and over and over again. And that's what makes you better. Reps remove what, Vex?
Doubt, baby.
Not moved out. That's one of the things.
It's wild how weird it looks. I was using it like probably 3 weeks ago with one of my goalies. We were battling back and forth, and I suck at it. And obviously, he's a D1 goalie. He's really good. And he's like, "Is that Trent?" And so I put it on. All of a sudden, it comes back around, and it's one of my clients is shooting on me in VR. It's Trent Frederick. I'm like, that's exactly how Trent skates and shoots. And then I text Trent. I'm like, bro, are you in this game? Am I taking your and he was like, yeah, dude, I am. And I was like, what? That's so cool.
Yeah, no. So we do HD video for goalies. We'll record NHL shooters or professional women coming down, college players. Actually, we're going to release a bunch of age appropriate shooters. So we'll have U16s, U15s, U12s for young goalies because they don't necessarily need to be seeing NHL shots to help them improve their game. Because a 12-year-old shoots it different than an 18-year-old, right? So they're reading the release. They're looking at the shin pads, the shoulders, the hands of where that puck's going to go. So. No, it's pretty cool. Like I said, if you've never been in VR, just go somewhere and try it. Because once we get a headset on somebody and they understand you're fully immersed in this environment, the sounds you hear, the sights you see, the shot coming off the blade, you're seeing HD video melt into a VR platform for goaltenders. I'm speaking of reading the release and the spin off the puck and coming off the blade and everything else. So it's really true shots coming at you. And again, it's just reps. It's your scans, your pre-scans, your reads, all that stuff. And we also track metrics, which is cool. So you want a quicker release? We're tracking that, baby. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Well, we appreciate your time, and we have a discount code for anybody that wants to get involved and might want to get a Sense Arena here. So we'll put that in the show notes. It's a little bit of it's a lot of, we got it. If you're on YouTube, it's right at the bottom of the screen. But we'll put this on the show notes for the podcast where you can go there and get 10% off an annual plan. And so, yeah, this is a phenomenal product. And that, dude, that was such a great, synopsis of why it can help you and how it can help you be a better player. And just a really, really cool thing. But we appreciate your time. We're going to hold on to you here for another 5 to 10 minutes or so. And we're going to do a 10 questions with you. This will be housed in our Hockey Think Tank community. And so if you're not in the community yet, go to community.thehockeythinktank.com. Got another 10 questions here with Andrew. But dude, thanks so much for your time and talking about your journey with us today. I think it's one that is going to really resonate with a lot of the kids that listen to this one. So appreciate your time and appreciate your input.
Hey, I was happy to chat hockey, boys. Fun. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.